Want to say no without sounding rude, or win an argument politely in English? Welcome to the Duo Dialogues, where fluency gets fun and fearless. Last time, we decoded English humor and what makes people laugh. Today, we're learning the art of persuasion, how to negotiate confidently, stay polite, and still get your way. Let's begin.
Do you ever find yourself, needing to say no in English, but worried about maybe sounding a bit rude?
Or, yeah, how about trying to convince someone, get them on board with your idea without it turning into a big argument?
Exactly. That's really the core challenge our source material is tackling today.
And it's such a crucial one, isn't it? This deep dive. It's not just about, learning new words. It's really about mastering that art of negotiation and persuasion, specifically, through effective English communication, which is what this source lays out.
Right. And our source material for this deep dive, it really gets into the practical stuff, looking at, polite phrases, professional ways of saying things.
And actual strategies.
Yeah.
Things you can use in real life.
Yeah. Whether that's, a business meeting, maybe trying to get a better price shopping, or even just those kind of tricky chats with friends.
So our mission really is to pull out the key strategies and the specific language from the source material.
To give you the tools, basically.
Exactly. So you can handle these moments with, more confidence. And the source makes a really key point right at the start.
Which is?
The negotiation isn't just for, formal business deals. It's everywhere, part of daily life. And it's definitely not the same as arguing.
Oh, that's such an important distinction. The source really highlights that, doesn't it? Arguing is often, emotional, confrontational.
Yeah, focused on winning.
Right. Whereas negotiation, the source presents it as more of a process about discussion, finding common ground, maybe reaching an agreement everyone's okay with.
It's about influence, finding solutions together, not just winning the point.
Precisely. And the source gives some brilliant, really practical examples of how to do this, using specific English phrases.
Like, for instance, if you need to bring up an idea that's maybe different from what's being discussed.
Instead of just bluntly saying, we should do this.
Exactly. Instead of that, the source suggests softer language, more collaborative.
Like framing it as a question, perhaps, or a suggestion.
Yes, things like, would you consider? Or maybe, perhaps we could look at this another way. That kind of thing.
Ah, okay.
As the source explains, phrasing it like that, it doesn't sound like you're attacking their idea. It's more like offering another option to explore together. It, opens the door for discussion.
Which is key in negotiation. Yeah. I also noticed the source really emphasizes acknowledging the other person's point first.
Oh.
Phrases like, I completely understand where you're coming from, but it sort of validates their position before you even introduce yours.
That's a key technique, the source points out. Showing you've actually listened and understood, it kind of lowers their defenses, makes them more receptive.
Right.
Then you can bring in your point, maybe with something like, let me share another perspective on this. Or if we consider X, it might also mean Y.
It sort of reframes potential disagreement as adding value or just looking at different sides of it.
Exactly. And what about when you just, disagree? The source is pretty clear that just saying you're wrong is almost always a bad idea.
Oh, for sure. That just shuts things down, doesn't it?
Immediately. It's confrontational. So the source offers more nuanced ways, polite ways to express disagreement.
Likely.
Think about phrases such as, I see your point, but I'm not sure I agree completely.
Yeah.
Or maybe, that's an interesting idea. However, I do have some reservations about it.
Right. So it's expressing your view, your reservations, without just shooting theirs down. Let's think about an alternative. That's another good one from the source.
Yeah, again, shifting the focus away from who's right or wrong and towards solving the problem together.
What I found really valuable in the source material were the real life examples, those mini role plays it includes.
Seeing the phrases in context?
Yes, like how to handle a salary discussion or politely push back on a deadline with a colleague, or even like bargaining respectfully at a market. Sure. It makes the strategies feel, real, concrete.
Absolutely. The source doesn't just give you a list of phrases. It shows the flow of the conversation.
Yeah, like that salary increase example. Instead of just blurting out a number, the source shows using language like, based on my responsibilities and market research, I'd like to discuss a salary adjustment. Would it be possible to consider X?
And then handling the back and forth, the potential counteroffers, politely. using those acknowledgement phrases we talked about.
That practical application, that's where the real power is, I think.
Yeah.
Using these specific, polite, persuasive phrases from the source, it can genuinely change how your interactions go.
It really can. It's about choosing language that, builds bridges, not walls.
It definitely makes you think much more deliberately about the words you choose. The source even includes a great suggestion for you, the listener.
Oh, yeah?
It suggests choosing a specific situation you think you'll need to negotiate or persuade someone in soon, and actually trying to write out a short dialogue.
Using the phrases and techniques we've covered.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to make it actionable, not just theoretical.
That's a great idea. Putting theory into practice is really the best way to get comfortable with these skills.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into negotiation and persuasion in English, here's maybe a final thought for you to mull over. Something the source touches on, almost as a contrast.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about this more formal or semi-formal negotiation language. But what about, really casual English? Slang terms like spill the tea or phrases like hit the sack.
The other end of the spectrum.
Right. What do those actually mean? And how might understanding that kind of casual language fit in with your overall ability to communicate effectively in English, across all sorts of different situations?
That's interesting. Thinking about that whole range, from quite formal negotiation to super casual slang, it really highlights how adaptable you need to be in English.
It's a fascinating spectrum to consider. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into mastering persuasive English communication.
Yeah, we really hope the insights and examples from the source material help you navigate your conversations with maybe a bit more skill and confidence.
Stay tuned for future deep dives into other interesting topics.